There is one thing in all of Scripture that God explicitly says He will never reject. Not a perfect record, not impressive spiritual achievement, not a long history of faithful service. In Psalm 51, verse 17, David writes, "The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart, O God. You will not despise. You will not despise. God will not turn away from it. He will not dismiss it. He will not hold it at arm's length." Subscribe to Hearts After God as we go deep into this truth. A broken and contrite heart is the one offering that God receives every single time, without exception, without condition, without hesitation. And yet, the contrite heart is perhaps the most misunderstood and most undervalued posture in the entire Christian life. In a culture that prizes strength, confidence, success, and visible spiritual victory, brokenness and contrition feel like weakness. They feel like spiritual failure. They feel like the condition you are supposed to have moved past, not the condition that God is actually looking for. But David, who knew God more intimately than almost anyone in Scripture, who had experienced both the heights of divine favor and the depths of his own failure, says something that the entire religious world needs to hear again. The thing that moves the heart of God is not your achievement. It is your brokenness, and the heart that is contrite before Him is the heart He will never, not once, not ever, turn away. The Hebrew word translated as contrite in Psalm 51 verse 17 is the word dakah, which means crushed, broken into pieces, ground down. It is the same root used in Isaiah chapter 53 verse 5, where it says that the Messiah was crushed for our iniquities. A contrite heart is not simply a sad heart. It is not merely a heart that feels bad about getting caught. A contrite heart is one that has been genuinely broken by the weight of its own sin, not primarily because of the consequences that sin brings, but because of what the sin represents. A wound to the relationship with God, a betrayal of the one who is worthy of complete love and complete loyalty. And the companion word in that verse, the word translated as broken spirit, is the Hebrew word shabar, which means shattered, like pottery that has been dropped and broken into fragments. David is describing a state of complete interior collapse before God, a state where every pretense is gone, every defense is down, every attempt at self-justification has been abandoned, and what remains is just the raw, honest truth of a person standing before God with nothing to offer but the broken pieces of who they are. And God says, that is what I receive. That is the sacrifice I will never despise. Please subscribe to Hearts After God as we continue. Hit the like button as comment, "God, please give me a contrite heart." Are you still with us? Please subscribe to Hearts After God to stay connected. Here is what makes this truth so remarkable when you set it alongside what we know about human psychology. Research in the area of shame and vulnerability, including the widely recognized work of researcher Dr. Brené Brown, has consistently found that the experience of being fully known and fully accepted in a moment of genuine vulnerability is one of the most profoundly transformative experiences available to a human being. When a person drops their defenses, stops performing, stops managing their image, and allows themselves to be seen in their most broken and honest state, and is met not with rejection but with acceptance, something shifts at the deepest level of the self. The fear that drives the performance begins to lose its power. The shame that demanded the hiding begins to dissolve. The walls that were built to protect from rejection begin to come down. This is exactly what God offers in response to a contrite heart. Not rejection, not disgust, not disappointment that you are not further along. He meets the broken heart with the one thing that transforms it completely: His presence, His mercy, and His creative power to make something new out of the broken pieces. The contrite heart does not arrive at God with a plan or a performance. It arrives empty, and that emptiness is precisely what makes room for God to fill it. Isaiah chapter 57 verse 15 contains one of the most breathtaking verses in all of Scripture about the God who responds to a contrite heart. It says, "For thus says the one who is high and lifted up, who inhabits eternity, whose name is holy. I dwell in the high and holy place, and also with him who is of a contrite and lowly spirit, to revive the spirit of the lowly, and to revive the heart of the contrite. The God who inhabits eternity, the God who is high and lifted up, the God whose name is holy. This God says there are two places where he dwells, the high and holy place, which is the throne of heaven, and the contrite heart, the lowest place and the highest place, the broken spirit and the eternal throne. And God says he is equally present in both. He does not dwell at a distance from the person who is crushed and broken before him. He draws near to them. He revives them. He brings life back into the thing that was dying. The contrite heart is not a place God visits reluctantly. It is a place where he chooses to make his home. And the purpose of his dwelling there is not inspection or judgment. It is revival. He comes to the broken heart to bring it back to life. Subscribe to Hearts After God. Hit the like button and type, "God, give me a broken heart." Contrition is not. It is not chronic guilt. It is not self-punishment. It is not the permanent state of feeling terrible about yourself before God. The contrite heart is not a destination. It is a posture, a doorway, the way you come before God when you have fallen, when you have failed, when the gap between who you are and who he is has become painfully, undeniably clear. You come with nothing. You come honestly. You come broken. And he who never despises that offering meets you there and does what only he can do. He revives. He restores. He creates, and then he sends you out from that place of encounter, not crushed permanently, but renewed, not defined by your brokenness, but transformed by what God does in response to it. The contrite heart is the heart that keeps coming back to God after every failure, rather than hiding in shame. It is the heart that never lets pride get between itself and God for long. It is the heart that David had, the heart that made him a man after God's own heart, not because he never fell, but because he always came back, always broke before God, always trusted that the God who does not despise a broken and contrite heart would receive him again. If you have been carrying shame that has kept you at a distance from God, bring it to him broken. He is waiting for you. Follow Hearts After God and share this message with someone who needs to know that God will never reject the heart that comes to him honestly.